Hi everybody, I hope you're having a great day. In this video, I'm going to be covering Agent X. He made his first appearance in Deadpool, Volume 3, Issue number 65, that was released in March of 2002. His real name is Nijo, later going by the alias Alex Hayden, and he's a mutate that stands 6 feet 2 inches tall and weighs 215 pounds, although there was a brief period that he weighed 555 pounds, being extremely obese. Nevertheless, he has brown eyes and a bald head, although originally he had brown hair with a dyed white stripe down the middle, while also having X-shaped scars on different parts of his body. Now, Nijo gained significant superhuman abilities when he was caught in between of a battle between Deadpool and a powerful psionic being known as Black Swan, which led to him gaining a portion of each of their powers and abilities. To make a long story short, he's basically a slightly more effective Deadpool, having an extremely enhanced healing factor that can allow him to regrow or reattach missing limbs and organs, as well as be resistant to basically any outside pathogens or chemicals, as well as him having a very strong resistance to telepathic influence. This extreme healing factor also extends his lifespan to an unknown degree, as well as boosting his strength to low-level superhuman ranges, being able to lift slightly over 3 tons, as well as boosting his stamina, agility, and reflexes to moderate superhuman levels. And he's also displayed very slight telepathic abilities himself. Now, all of these powers complement his natural and trained fighting ability, with him being a master hand-to-hand combatant and literally being one of the very few people that has put a victory over Deadpool and Taskmaster under his belt, despite him ironically being partially trained by Taskmaster, which in all makes him one of the very best fighters in the Marvel Universe. That's not to mention him being an expert marksman as well, being shown to be a better shot than Deadpool, and being ambidextrous with firearms, unlike Deadpool, who favors his right hand. Now, we first see Nijo as an assassin and agent that was hired by the telepathic German assassin known as Black Swan. Nijo originally blamed Deadpool for his brother's death, as he was among the targets of Deadpool's apparently successful assassination attempt on the Japanese crime lords named the Four Winds. But after Black Swan downloaded a mental virus into Deadpool's brain, which caused Deadpool to come for both Swan and Nijo, we'd learned that the Black Swan was more of a meddler than we had assumed, with him actually revealing that in fact he was the one who had killed the Four Winds, including Nijo's brother. He had taken issue with Deadpool being credited with the hit, and despite Nijo being casually stabbed through the chest by Black Swan due to his ranting and disobedience, his imminent death would take a turn when a bomb that Deadpool had brought with him went off, seemingly killing all 3 of them. However, all 3 of them had actually partially merged during the explosion when Black Swan had used his psionic powers in an act of desperation to save himself, with Black Swan and Nijo acquiring Deadpool's healing factor and having all of their personality traits and skills being mixed up. From that point forward, Nijo not only gained Deadpool's powerful healing factor, but he also gained a part of Black Swan's personality, preferences, and biases, as well as his firearms talent. Subsequent to this, we'd see Nijo reemerge as Alex Hayden in New York with one goal in mind: to become the best mercenary alive. He'd be found by Deadpool's former secretary named Sandi Brandenberg, who assumed that he was Deadpool by his powers and demeanor. From there, Sandi would seek out her friend and distant romantic interest named Taskmaster, who was brought in to help who she thought was Deadpool get his bearings and training back. The individual named Inez Temple, aka Outlaw, was also brought in to help train him with his shooting skills. However, Taskmaster would quickly notice that Alex was ambidextrous and that he was somehow interfering with his reflex ability while training. He and Outlaw concluded that despite his healing factor, this couldn't be Deadpool, along with the fact that he was more skilled with firearms than Deadpool was. Nevertheless, from there, Sandi and Alex would form a mercenary group named Agency X, and during one of his very first missions, he and Outlaw would run into problems when he was sent to take out the Punisher and take his Colt 45 handguns. He failed to take down the Punisher and was left in a phone booth alongside his companion, all while the Punisher then went and took out the people who had sent them. However, Alex would have some luck with gaining a romantic relationship with Outlaw. From here, Alex as Agent X would go on to have several more adventures before shutting down Agency X. Later, Agent X and Deadpool would almost lose their powers to Black Swan, who had tried to manipulate them to take both of their abilities to augment himself. But luckily that plan was thwarted and they both came out on top and Black Swan went down for good. However, Agent X and Deadpool would later find themselves at odds with each other over the fate of the mutant named Cable, with a vicious confrontation between the two mercs leading with Deadpool coming out on top, with him literally writing out the phrase "Hi Weasel" with Agent X's guts. But due to them both having an advanced healing factor, this prolonged battle would only end after they both relented and Deadpool agreed to give back Agent X his pancreas. But Deadpool didn't completely write off Agent X after this, because after Alex had a botched attempt to steal a device from Hydra, he would actually become affected by the device he was supposed to steal, which gave him arthritis and the quote-unquote American gene, which resulted in him being extremely obese. Sandi and Outlaw would convince Deadpool to help rescue him from this scenario, with Agent X being freed with the help of Bob, agent of Hydra. Deadpool would even temporarily run the new Agency X while Agent X got himself back in shape, which took a few years. So for now, he and Deadpool seem pretty cool, but we will have to wait and see if their personalities clash sometime in the future. Now, for his powers and abilities and his influence on the Marvel Universe, for my 1 to 10 rating, I'll give Agent X a rating of 7, which is a master rating. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you next time. Be sure to like, subscribe, and join the new Sage.